Since September 2024, we've brought you a series of films charting the renovation and rejuvenation of a little-known small circular garden here at Wentworth Woodhouse. In our fourth and final film, we're delighted to unveil the fruits of our labours ahead of the National RHS Flower Show to be held here in July 2025.
We know there has been a hidden circular garden here since at least 1738. Over the centuries it has had different names, including the Mulberry Garden and the Rose Garden, although we have no proof that mulberries or indeed roses were ever planted here. In the early 1900s it became known as Lady Donatia's Garden, after Donatia, the third daughter of the 7th Earl Fitzwilliam and Countess Maud, who was a keen gardener. Most recently the garden has been planted with colourful dahlias for a glorious summer border display, but one which has masked the rather dilapidated state of the garden itself.
However, a very generous private donation and a planting partnership with David Austin Roses have come to the rescue, making it possible to rejuvenate this beautiful place. Viewers will know of the world-renowned family firm founded by David Austin Sr., who began breeding English roses in 1961. Since then, the company has produced over 200 new iconic English rose varieties, known for their quality, beauty, fragrance and charm.
Following the assessment visit by experts from David Austin Roses in August 2024, a new planting scheme was agreed for the circular beds, using a variety of long flowering roses of different colours, scents and growth habits. The soil was enriched with hops from a local brewery, and the old tile borders were replaced with beautiful flowing curved metal edging. New feature obelisks were installed to give height and depth to the garden design. And on a cold but sunny day in November, over 150 individual bare root roses were planted by our keen garden volunteers under the guidance of our David Austin sponsors. Then the rather dilapidated structure of the garden itself had to be tackled. The rusty metal railings and low historic walls needed urgent attention, and the old gazebo definitely had to go. And what's more, the adjoining stone gateway had become dangerously unsafe. Over the last few months, the low walls have been rebuilt with traditional lime mortar, using the original stones and bricks, supplemented by reclaimed coping stones found in the gardens. And the gateway is now sound and safe.
The restoration on the rusty old cast iron railings has, however, been the most dramatic development, with Sheffield-based Ridgeway Forge taking on the task. Only half the original railings were recoverable, so more new ones were fashioned from mild steel bar. New mitered top finials were hot forged, finished using a linishing technique, and then welded onto the tops of the railings. After undercoating, the railings were installed on site into pre-drilled holes in the coping stones. Using traditional methods, the railings were secured in place with molten lead poured into the hole at the base of each railing. The solidified lead was then tamped down to provide a clean finish. Several coats of dark green paint were applied for protection against the elements, and the installation of two larger finials on either side of the gateway provided the finishing touches.
The most recent additions have been a timber gazebo and bench made by our in-house joinery team, from which visitors can relax and take in the beautiful sights and fragrances of the garden. Its back has been left open to enhance the view through the railings. Now you may be wondering what has happened to the central sculpture in the water feature. The figure is believed to be Venus, goddess of love, shown emerging from bathing. The badly damaged statue was sent off to the City and Guilds Art School in London to be assessed and possibly renovated. Sadly, however, the figure is too damaged to be reconstructed or to stay outside in the elements in the long term, so will be sited elsewhere in the house. Many statues of crouching Venus exist, and we hope to replace her with a reproduction figure, perhaps like this.
But the story would not be complete without revisiting the progress of the bare root roses planted in November. There's been a huge change in just 3 months since the roses started to sprout, and of course in their first year they are just settling in. But we're already seeing lovely blooms on this lark ascending, which will give height and and has a wide open bloom great for pollinators and hips throughout the winter. In the central bed, Emma Bridgewater, a new rose for 2025. It has gorgeous double pink peachy flowers and a rich tea fragrance. And this will be complemented by Climber Strawberry Hill, which has been planted to cover the obelisks in this part of the garden. But my personal favourite is Lady of Shalott. Beautiful, large yellow blooms tinged with peach and often in clusters on the stems. And their perfume is just delightful. This stunning dark purple sweet pea has been planted at the base of the obelisks for this year to add colour and structure while the climbing roses are establishing themselves, and underplanting will be delayed until next season to avoid competition for root growth for the young roses.
With newly raked pink shale pathways, this wonderful garden is now complete. Over time and under the care of head gardener Scott and our amazing volunteer gardening teams, it will mature into a truly iconic English rose garden. But none of this would have been possible without the generosity of our private donor and, of course, the expert support of David Austin Roses.
The garden is still very young and the roses have yet to mature, but we think it's a fitting addition to the other amazing displays that our visitors will be able to enjoy during the forthcoming RHS Flower Show. And for the future, it will continue to be a place for quiet contemplation and for enjoying the sight and the fragrance of these beautiful English roses.